Okay, I'm hoping you can hear me. Let me invite you to video. And my camera. Make sure
To your
my...
voice.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, that's better. Can we
Okay.
can we turn the music down just a little bit? I don't know if it's
Yeah,
my
I'm going to turn
headphones,
off
but
Waitbot
awesome.
because he's irritating. There we are. And what I'm wondering is, so my camera, let me get to my camera settings because, of course, my camera decided to use the wrong camera because I restarted. Well, you know what?
Gotcha.
We are going to improvise and we are going to move. Uh-oh. Come on. We're just going to move it over here. This is what we do when
Yep.
tech decides to be interesting.
Exactly. It's this new age of interviews, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So we are just going to move it over so that
There
we'll
you
use this
go.
camera.
Hi.
Yay! All right. Let's change this
Awesome.
fortune cookie. And I am so excited, everyone, for you to be here with my special guest, Anna-Mieke Anderson. And we are going to get started because people are here and people will jump in and jump on the stage and all that kind of stuff as we go along. But I want to be
Love
respectful of
it.
everyone that is already here. So welcome, welcome, welcome to Alignment Vision Action here on Fireside. My name is Laurel Rutledge. I am your host of the show, and I have the most amazing woman on tonight, Anna-Mieke Anderson. She is the CEO and founder of MiaDonna, and I've got her bio in the show notes, but I want to jump in because she is so fantastic that I just want to go ahead and get started with all the stuff that we're going to talk about because guys, I just got to tell you, it's going to be an amazing conversation. So, where I want to start, well, first, welcome, Anna-Mieke. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Laurel. Oh my gosh, you're so kind. I need to have you with me all the time to like talk about this stuff.
Well, I
This is
just,
awesome.
it's funny. You meet people in these situations, and I'm like, I have got to talk to her. And so, Anna-Mieke is truly the epitome of a disruptor, and you're going to hear through her story. And welcome everyone in the audience, Tisa and Leela and Angela. Thank you so much for being here. And Suzanne, thank you guys so much. So we are going to jump in like immediately. And so where I'd like to
Love
start,
it.
Anna-Mieke, just so people really get an understanding is tell us the how and why of starting MiaDonna.
Okay. Well, the why is everything to me. That's why I've been doing this for nearly 20 years now, and actually accidentally pioneered the lab grown diamond industry, but it was out of activism more than wanting to be a corporate tycoon or anything like that.
Mhm.
So I kind of fell into it trying to make a difference. It was back in 2005, and my father was in America visiting me, and he casually just said, "Hey, where did your diamond come from?" And I'd recently had a diamond engagement ring, and I said, the local jewelry store. He's like, no, before it got there, where did it come from? And he'd always kind of raised me as to be a conscious consumer, and I thought I was. But the research that I did on the origin of my diamond led me to believe that I'd most likely purchased a conflict diamond. And
Mm,
so that was kind of the start of things. The more research I did, the more lies I, found out and uncovered. So to kind of make things right in my own mind, I started sponsoring a little boy and his mother in a diamond mining community in Liberia.
wow.
And that was going to be the end of it. But, the extent of my philanthropy, I kind of paid
Right?
back what I'd done wrong, I suppose. But something unexpected happened, and we developed a relationship. And I got a first-hand look of what it was like for this mother to try and raise a son in these conditions.
Mhm.
Still, in the 21st century, this was still going
Yes.
on, and so that was really heartbreaking for me. And I'll never forget the day he wrote to me and said, I had a great summer because only one of my classmates was killed. And
Oh,
that was everything to me. I had a 1-year-old daughter, MiaDonna. I named the company after her. And I was actually pregnant with my son at the time. And I went, you know what? I got to do more. And the simplest form of my company, 17 years ago, was how do we sponsor more mothers and their children? And so I thought I would create a conflict-free jewelry line. And with the funds, we would go back into these diamond mining communities and reinvest. Sounds simple enough, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Piece
Soon
of cake.
find out, right? Easy. Soon found out that nothing that came from the earth, diamonds or gold, can be considered conflict-free, and that was really
Yeah.
disappointing. But that's when I turned to science. Science
Mm-hmm.
holds the key to a lot of things in our life, and it was a perfect alignment. So I started working with scientists to grow a pure carbon diamond in a lab that was free of any conflict or environmental destruction. So that is how the lab-grown diamond industry started, and that's the start of my company, MiaDonna.
I love it. I love it. And I want you to explain. We've got a question in the audience,
Mm-hmm.
and asking about the book Blood Diamonds by Greg Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
Leela is saying, did that book in any way kind of influence you?
That's a really good question. I started this before that came out,
Mm-hmm.
and I was hoping. So that came out. Well, the movie came out at the end of
Mm-hmm.
2006, and I
Right.
was hoping, well, the likes of Leonardo DiCaprio bringing this topic to the forefront. I don't need to do
Right.
anything, right? This is
Right.
it's solved. But unfortunately, the sale of Earth Mine Diamonds actually increased that year because they
Mm-hmm.
only presented the problem and they didn't present a solution. And so that's why
Right.
my company, we well, me as an activist, I present the problems, but then we have the solution, the conflict free, but then we also go back into these diamond mining communities and reinvest our profits.
Mm-hmm. I see. I love that. And one of the things I want to back up and talk about, because it's just one, talk about social entrepreneurship, right? You
Mm-hmm.
started it because you saw this thing happening to
Absolutely.
communities and what it was doing to people, not to do jewelry. You started it because that was an answer
Mm-hmm.
to a problem that you saw.
Correct.
But maybe kind of back us up a little bit and really explain to people what's the difference between a conflict diamond and a lab grown diamond.
Well, a conflict diamond these days could be a lab grown or could be an earth mined. But a
Mm-hmm.
conflict diamond, let's start there. Um, And the problem with a conflict diamond is it means many different things to many different people, and that is
Mm-hmm.
intentionally done that way. So, per the Kimberley process,
Mm-hmm.
a conflict diamond is a diamond that was mined by insurgent forces to fund war.
Okay.
The problem is it's way too narrow. So that doesn't cover a child mining the diamond, doesn't cover someone being tortured or enslaved or raped, to get
Mm-hmm.
this to market. And so consumers like you and I, good people, we're thinking, okay, I want to do my part. I want to buy a conflict
Yes.
free diamond, but not really understanding what that means.
Mm-hmm.
And so at MiaDonna, I have a much broader scope of what a conflict diamond is, and it's a diamond
Mm-hmm.
that is not sustainable and is detrimental to the environment or humanity.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
And then lab grown, when you
Mm-hmm.
talk about lab grown, and then lab grown now has conflict too, maybe give us a little bit more about
Mm-hmm.
that as well.
Absolutely. So a lab grown diamond is a diamond. There's no difference. They're chemically, physically, and optically identical to an earth mine diamond. The way I like to describe it is that it's kind of like getting ice from your freezer versus getting it from a glacier. One's made in a controlled modern environment, and the other
Mm-hmm.
one is made in nature, but the end result is identically, chemically, physically, and optically identical. So that's
Mm-hmm.
there is no difference between lab grown and earth mined.
Right.
However, in 2018, some of the early adopters of lab grown diamonds and myself went to the FTC, and we got the FTC to change the rules on
Mm-hmm.
how to market lab grown diamonds. I mean, there was a ton of harassment and a ton of pushback when I first started, and they really
Yeah.
limited our marketing ability for a lab grown
Mm-hmm.
diamond. So we pushed back and we got the rules changed. And that's why you've seen 2020, 2001
Yes.
influx of lab grown diamonds on the market now because it's safe to sell now and market.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, that also opens the doorway to companies that are profit driven, want to turn around a product incredibly quickly at the long term costs of people on the planet. And
Mm-hmm.
when I first started, I was working with 2 labs. There were only 2 labs growing diamonds in America. So I could confidently say,
Yeah.
these are conflict free. I've been there. I've worked with them. I know the
Mm-hmm.
origin. But these diamonds, these lab grown diamonds that are hitting the market are subpar. The quality is really bad, and they're hurting the environment. So I don't like to say all lab grown diamonds are conflict free anymore.
Yeah, it's it is so tough, and I'm telling you, you guys, you got to go see her site, MiaDonna, because the stuff is. I was telling her earlier, I'm there at least once a month, just looking, perusing. And then we have another question, and then I want to also jump into kind of this
Absolutely.
whole idea of how you battle these conglomerates. But she
Mm-hmm.
said, if you think about lab grown versus the conflict, and whether or not it really is a good diamond with people doing good things, how do you know what kind of
Mm-hmm.
diamond you've really purchased? Like, is there a certain certification now? How do you know?
Mm-hmm. That's a mystery. I'm still trying to figure out, to be honest.
Yeah.
And there is unfortunately not a certification that I am 100% impressed with
Mm,
just yet. There are people trying, but there are a lot of
mhm,
loopholes, a lot of gray areas. What I come back to, even if it's not diamonds, it's being a conscious
mhm,
consumer. And I'm a
mm.
huge advocate for B Corp certification, B Corp certified businesses. MiaDonna is B Corp certified.
Yes.
And going through the process myself, I know how rigorous it is, and how
Yes.
thorough it is. And so being a consumer, I know I can trust that.
Hmm. That's a really
Yeah,
good point. Is really, even if you're not quite sure of the exact product, if you can be sure about the organization, then you have a
exactly.
greater.
Who's behind it? Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, you when you did this, again, you talk about alignment, vision, action, really aligning this
Mm-hmm.
with who you were, right? Seeing this
Mm-hmm.
challenge and saying, I've got to do something about this. But man, you went up against some heavy hitters. I mean, the one we all know is De Beers, right? But that's just
Mm-hmm.
like one, one of them. Talk to us a little bit about what the hardest thing was you had to deal with in battling these conglomerates to really
Mm.
get, MiaDonna up and running.
Well, I want to say what was going for me at the time is how naive I was. I
Mm,
was, I think I started this company when I was like 28, and I was like,
yeah,
yeah, like this makes so much sense. Why isn't everyone going to love this?
right.
Um, and then, no, that, at first they ignored me, but when my
Yeah, of
voice got
course.
a little bit louder, their voice got a little bit louder. The early adopters, we took a lot of the
Mhm.
heat. It was
Yes.
cease and desist. It was being sued. It was gag orders. There's
Hmm.
a lot of stuff that they tried to stop. Also, our marketing ability. For a long time, we had to
Yeah.
call lab grown diamonds artificial or synthetic, which is
Mm,
the furthest from the truth.
yes.
And so there was a ton of pushback. And now the Earth Mine Diamond industry have one branding company called the
Hmm.
DPA, and they have a
Hmm.
$70 million marketing budget every year to stop the growth of lab grown diamonds and increase the growth of Earth Mine diamonds. So, money talks, and they have a lot of it. But I am, and other people like me are still pushing the pavement and trying to teach consumers exactly what they're purchasing.
Yes, and that's so important because, when we think about anyone who's a disruptor, and I truly consider you a disruptor, and that's what was so when I met you the first time and heard your story, I'm like, wow. And I think there were several of you at that one conference because you did MiaDonna. There was another one who'd done another woman who had done these jeans, and so she fought the
Mm-hmm.
denim, the denim
Yeah.
mafia, as she called them. I mean, it's incredible to me. I guess it shouldn't be, having been in corporate, I guess it shouldn't be, but it's incredible to me that there's such this kind of scarcity mindset and fear of
Mm-hmm.
innovation
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
anything that looks like it may cut into not a few dollars of profit, billions of dollars in profit, that heaven forbid somebody take a couple of million, right? That people
Mm-hmm.
get all up in arms and really get nasty about it. And one of the things you and I talked about was the true belief that women have the power to change the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have this ability to lift up communities, to build families, to build organizations. When women have really good businesses and are making good money, they make an impact. And so, you're here battling, for the most part, all these men, right, who are just being really
Absolutely.
nasty
Yeah. Hmm.
and
I
brutal.
mean,
And
yeah,
yet,
back in the day, it was just me,
yeah,
and I used to call them the suits.
yes, yes, the suits. And so, how
Yeah.
how did you stay like really focused on, no, I'm going to show up as me, the strong woman that
Hmm.
I am, and
Oh,
sit in that divine
that's a
feminine?
really good question.
How'd you do that and not become a
Well,
god, right?
right. Well, that's the key, and that's something I'm really trying to push now, is because there many female leaders, including myself, we
Hmm.
tend to have an automatic response that we need to fit in. We need
Yeah.
to, in order to succeed, we need to be like the people that are succeeding, which in a lot of
Hmm.
these old industries are still run by men.
Yes.
And so you swallow who you are. You dig it down deep, and you put on this face that isn't yours.
Right.
This mask, and once they were just pushing so bad back on me, and
Hmm.
you get to the breaking point, and you went, this is not me. And that turning
Yeah.
point changed everything in my life, because it was all based on fear. This Anna-Mieke Anderson that I wanted, other people wanted me to be. But when
Yes.
I truly led from a place of compassion and
Hmm.
empathy, which women tend to do, my
Yep.
business and my life just started flourishing. But it's hard to do. You have to be really brave, because it's hard. It really is. But the
It
more
is.
women that can do that, and lead from, we're on the cusp of a new economy. And I really
Yes.
feel like a lot more women will be running businesses. And that's the
Yeah.
best thing that can happen to this world, because women tend to lead from a community place,
Yeah.
versus just an I
Hmm.
place. So I'm excited to see that.
I love that. And it is hard, right? There's already the comparison game, and especially
Hmm.
in this day of social media and, oh my gosh, I started a business, but somebody else, they started a business and they're like 1400 steps ahead of me. And, and we
Mm,
forget in the moment that we're seeing people's, as they say, we're seeing their highlight reel. We're not seeing behind the scenes, right? So we don't
absolutely.
even know if that highlight reel is true.
Absolutely.
What was it that helped you really not only recognize, but
Hmm.
truly make the decision to take
Hmm.
action around just showing up as Anna-Mieke and
Hmm.
not as what
Yeah.
everybody wanted you to be?
I think more of it was my experience with my foundation and my work in
Mm,
diamond mining communities. The
mm-hmm.
first realization, I think it was like maybe 2010. I was looking at all our farms that we do, because we do try
Yeah.
and concentrate on growing food in these diamond mining communities. And the projects that we were doing that were run by women were actually far succeeding the other ones. And what
Ah.
was so great to see was it was having a multiplier effect. It's these
Mm,
women were teaching everybody else in the community what they had learned. And so I was teaching one woman, but they were teaching 10. And
mm-hmm.
it was so beautiful to see. So then I started doing more research on it. I was like, women in business tend to do better in business. I mean, there's studies that
Mm-hmm.
prove this, but we're more likely to give our profits back to our local community.
Yeah.
And so I realized, having emotion in business is my superpower. It's the charge behind what gives me so much passion about what I do. It gives me the energy
Yeah.
to keep doing this every day, even though they're pushing back so much.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really embracing my intuition, my emotional response, which is normally seen weak in business,
Yeah.
and my empathy. And I feel like if a lot more women got into business and social enterprises and started to re-evolve these old industries, like you said, the denim
Mm-hmm.
industry, the diamond industry,
Yes.
the world's going to be a much better place.
I love that. And we've got a couple more questions too. And one of them is a product
Absolutely.
one. So I'll ask that kind of at the end. But we've got one that says, with all of this stuff that's gone on and everything that you went through, there's sure you experienced fatigue or burnout.
Mm,
How did you recharge? Get your mojo back to keep doing this work?
hmm. It's my why. Keep coming back to the why.
Mm,
That's my anchor. I'm very I run my foundation. It's a nonprofit, and I run all
Mm-hmm.
the projects, and I'm personally connected with everyone that works there. And that little
Yes.
boy and his mother, he is now
Mm-hmm.
27 years old, and he runs our foundation in Liberia, and I talk to him every
Wow.
day, right? So
Yeah.
I'm very connected on why I'm doing this, and that is really the recharge, and that's what
Mm-hmm.
lights a fire under me to keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that because I think sometimes we forget whether or not, we're in a career, whether we started our own businesses, whether we're just thinking about our lives, we forget sometimes that walking that path that's truly aligned with who you are is not easy because the
Mm-hmm.
world will tell you that you should be doing other things, right? You're supposed to be doing something else, or you're supposed to look like, feel like, be like, talk like, all of these other things that may not be your heart driven, purpose driven thing, right? And yet, as you say, really recognizing through experience and seeing it yourself, it's a multiplier effect when you're working with women. It's an absolute
Mm-hmm.
multiplier effect. And this desire and willingness and ability to each one teach one, right? Each one reach
Mm-hmm.
one. And so if we can show up that way, right, it we know it makes a difference. But how do you, from your perspective, continue to show up that way, but also command respect? You're showing compassion, you're listening to people, you're not yelling and screaming. How do you command that same respect when you're not being the dude?
Because I don't need their respect.
Did y'all hear that? And mic drop. Oh my God, that was so good.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm here to get shit done, and my results
Yes.
will command the respect I need. Either get on board or get out of the way. That's kind of how I run
Oh,
things.
I I'm like, we can end the interview right now because that was like, that was
Should have saved
amazing.
that one.
That is, I'm going to save that. I will be having that on replay. You know what? It is so important because as you said, you started with your why. You did something because there was a different purpose. It just happened to turn up, right, as MiaDonna, and then you just took it and ran with it. But you were able to get to that strength to really say, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
I don't need everybody to love me. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to get shit done, as you said,
Mm-hmm.
And Leela says, you are gorgeous inside and out. Thank you for being a role model
Oh,
leader.
thank you.
When can we expect your book or documentary to come out? I'm
Very
in.
soon.
Yay!
It's in the works. It's in the
Yeah,
works.
you heard it here first,
Yeah.
y'all. Fireside. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So as we to before I open it up, because I do want to open it up because I'm sure some folks in the audience would also like to come up on stage and ask. MiaDonna is amazing, and give people the website right now while they're looking, so y'all can
Yeah.
multitask and look at these diamonds.
So it's MiaDonna, which is MiaDonna.com.
Yeah, go look while you're listening. Be ready, just be ready. I'm just fair warning, right? And so and good evening. I saw Zach join. Hi, Zach and Ebony, and I just saw somebody else pop in and out, so he may be back too. So what do you see next when you think about MiaDonna and
Mm-hmm.
everything you're doing and the foundation as well? Let's start with MiaDonna. What do you see next coming for MiaDonna as you think about
Mm-hmm.
this industry and what's moving?
Yeah. Well, I'm always an activist first and foremost. That
Mm-hmm.
is my role. That's my path in life. And that hasn't stopped yet. And like I was mentioning
Yeah.
before, lab grown diamond industry has changed, and I really need to be an advocate for consumers and let them know
Mm-hmm.
what is going on. We're actually moving on to another generation of lab grown diamonds, and we've got the
Mm-hmm.
technology now to use carbon from pollution, carbon capturing, to grow our diamonds. So they're actually carbon
Oh,
positive lab grown diamonds.
yeah.
And so there's a whole new generation of innovation with lab
Mm-hmm.
grown diamonds. So I just want to keep evolving the industry. I want to push the diamond industry on the most sustainable path that I can,
Mm-hmm.
and keep cleaning up the mess, that's happened
Oh,
already.
this is just so I never see this is innovators mindset, right? I never would have thought about, like, lab grown makes perfect sense to me. You take coal, we can do some amazing things in the lab, and you grow these diamonds in the lab. Never crossed my mind to do true carbon capture, because it's still carbon, true carbon
Absolutely.
capture, and make these amazing gemstones. Never even thought about it. See, y'all, true innovator here in the house.
Well, I can't take credit for the science behind it, but I jumped on it.
Yes.
And MiaDonna is the exclusive retailer at the moment for
Oh,
these diamonds. Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Now, here's a diamond question before we get into the philanthropic work. Does the GIA certify
Absolutely.
lab grown as well?
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, GIA took a while to get on board. They
Mm-hmm.
really did. There is also GCAL and IGI, which are really good too in
Mm-hmm.
America.
Mm-hmm.
But GIA do now certify lab grown diamonds. Yeah.
I love it. Hey, Frankie J. Frankie J has a show on Fireside as well. His show is really cool
Oh,
too.
awesome.
So, you know, when you think about all of this work that you are doing that is truly going to impact our climate, it's already impacting communities. You truly, early adopter, disruptor of this industry. We're now seeing, you and I were talking about all these folks, coming up now saying lab grown. And I have to tell you guys a funny story. So I met Anna-Mieke, gosh, that was 2018, I think, when I saw you
Yeah.
at Brilliant,
Yeah.
something like that.
Seems like a
Long
lifetime
time
ago.
ago. Yeah. And we've been, I'd been following her on Instagram, and I also follow this organization called The Skim, which I love because they skim all the news for me. So it's quick bites. And they had this thing that popped up that said, "Oh, you've got to meet this woman, and she started the lab grown diamond industry." I'm like, no, 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 no. I know who did that. And I sent them a note and I said, "You need to go talk to
Oh, you
Anna-Mieke
sent them a
Anderson."
note? That's awesome.
I did. I absolutely did.
I love it.
I was like, "No, ma'am, y'all need to get it right."
No,
And so,
I know.
and then it said,
It's interesting. Yeah.
"Yeah,
Well, what I'm finding interesting too is people that are just coming into the market and
yes,
don't know really what they're selling.
right,
And they'll find quotes that I said maybe 15 years ago that weren't
yeah,
100% accurate. And
yes,
I've obviously learned from there.
right,
But now they're re-quoting these incorrect quotes that I said. And
yes,
I'm like, no, that is wrong. Stop, get
right."
your own quotes.
Yes,
Yeah.
because nothing
Yeah.
dies. Nothing dies anymore, right? In the
Right.
internet, nothing dies.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well,
Yeah.
it's so amazing to me that all of this started from this hard work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you told us a little bit about your foundation that you have going and what you're doing there. Tell us a little bit more about that philanthropic work that you're
Mm-hmm.
doing.
Well, MiaDonna is a social enterprise, which
Mm-hmm.
means we are a for-profit company, but we use our profits to solve a social or environmental injustice.
Mm-hmm.
So our foundation is the Greener Diamond. It's a non-profit foundation, and so we go back into this portion of every sale. 10% of our sales go back into the diamond mining communities, and
Yeah.
we reinvest in them. And like I said earlier, we do try and stick with farming because in
Mm-hmm.
places where it's abundant in natural resources, it's actually
Mm-hmm.
illegal to grow food. So these
Mm.
locals are, they're losing the skills on how to be self-sustainable, and keeps them in a perpetual cycle of poverty. So we go back
Right.
into these communities and reinvest in them to be able to reinvest in themselves.
I love that.
Um,
And
yeah.
I mean, who knew? Because I remember you saying that when you first talked about the foundation, is that these mining companies have gotten so big and have taken over so much that it is actually illegal to grow food. I don't know if you guys heard her say
Mm-hmm.
that. It's
Mm-hmm.
illegal to grow food in some of these places. So you're
Yeah.
talking about you're grabbing people, forcing them to work, but then they can't feed
Mm-hmm.
themselves. I mean, it's
Yeah.
unfathomable.
Mm-hmm. And well, and the forcing them to work is just giving them no other opportunities, no other industries. They either mine for diamonds, or they have nothing to eat, and
Hmm.
it's a form of
Hmm.
control, right? If you control the people,
Yes.
you control the land and the wealth that's within it.
Yes, that's just
Mm-hmm.
incredible. Leila said, "I love this because this is how I feel." She said, "I love right hand rings for women. One does not have to be married to buy herself her own damn diamond ring."
Absolutely, absolutely. We have
I
actually
agree.
we have a two-stone diamond ring at the moment, which I
Yeah.
think is absolutely stunning, and every woman needs a two-stone ring. Yeah,
See,
big
I
big one.
I agree. I'll
What's
be
better than
lining
one
up.
diamond, two diamonds?
Hey, there you go. And Frankie J, I saw your comment. He said, "Can we grow money too? Can you just grow money? Because that would
Well,
be
we're
awesome."
growing diamonds. Same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
if someone is really, because again, your things they're just amazing, and how you've done it and why you started is just incredible. Before I ask you about how we can support you, how people who are listening can really support the foundation, support the education around this whole idea of lab grown versus conflict diamonds. As an entrepreneur, as someone who decided to just leap, what are kind of some key philosophies that you have that keep you moving, that someone could take, even if they're really wanting to build, they want to be the next CEO in their organization, right? What are some kind of key philosophies you rely on to keep you moving and positive?
Well, again, it keeps coming back to my why, and I'm more of an expert in social enterprise. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people are now that already have companies, they're like, "Oh, how do I make it a social enterprise?" But they're
Mm.
lacking the compassion because they're going the wrong way about it. You really need
Ah.
to find something that lights a fire in you, and
Mm-hmm.
keeps you up at night, and something that you can't stop thinking about. You want to solve a problem in the world. Then you find a product that aligns with that can fund your
Mm-hmm.
foundation. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what always comes back to why you're doing this. And again, consumers purchase why you're
Yes.
selling something, not so much what you're selling.
Yes, that is the one thing that I've learned more and more having come out of that corporate arena, right? And when
Mm-hmm.
you're doing your own thing, is people really want to know, for the most part. I mean, if you're just going to buy laundry detergent, although that's getting more
Sure. Mm-hmm.
important now, but people want to know who they're working with. They want to know
Mm-hmm.
who they're dealing with, right? And what their real
Absolutely.
philosophies are and what they do when they're not just
Mm-hmm.
pushing their product, right? Who
Yeah,
are they really? Who are we doing business with?
absolutely.
And that gets to one of the questions that Leela had asked is, do you have partnerships? She mentioned H Stern, right? Do you do partnerships with other kind of jewelers who
Mm-hmm.
are doing the right thing with MiaDonna as well?
No, we don't. Not at the moment. MiaDonna and the Green Diamond are kind of like a package deal. We're
Yeah,
sisters. You can't really
I
separate
love
one
that.
one from the other. And
Hmm.
so, no, we don't do any partnerships right now.
Yeah. I just love that whole, the eco diamond, the greener diamond, it all just fits together. So guys, we're going to keep chatting, but if you have a question, I would love for you to come up on stage. You can feel free to click if you're new to Fireside, you would click on the little hamburger thing that's in the bottom left hand corner of the screen, and you can just say, ask to speak. And I would love to have you come up on stage, and we can even have a couple of people on video if they'd like to. So Leela, come on up. I'm going to accept your request here. So Leela should be coming. Leela.
Okay. Hi. Can you hear me?
Hi,
Yes,
Leela.
we
Can you hear
can.
me? Okay,
Hi.
great. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for being such an inspiration. My question was, are there any celebrities that you can partner with, for the red carpet who are wearing your diamonds and can be interviewed on the
Yeah.
Oscars and say, I'm wearing your diamond?
Do you know any celebrities that want a diamond? Because I would be willing
I
to
would
partner
start
with
with
you.
like Oprah, Michelle Obama, like a lot of socially
Right.
conscious celebrities. I mean, Leonardo
Yeah.
DiCaprio, he could wear
Yeah.
diamonds, right?
Right.
That'd be a good tie-in.
Unfortunately, it comes back to there's so many fees attached to that, and I kind of
Mm,
keep equating everything to a farm. It's like, okay, well that equals the price of a farm. Do I want to do a new farm, or do I want to have the celebrity wearing my diamonds? So
yeah.
yeah,
Right.
but we need to get more on that.
Yeah, just for promotional purposes. But I thought
Exactly.
Right.
at least
Exactly.
Leonardo DiCaprio should be probably your first
Right.
stop.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
I've
Right.
I've got a bone to pick with that guy. He could have done so much more
Right.
for this industry and didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and
thank you
Keanu
so much.
Reeves. Yes. Thank you, Leela. I
Yes.
appreciate it. And anyone else, again, feel free to invite yourself up if you have a question or a comment you'd like to make get here and meet Anna-Mieke of MiaDonna Diamond. So, when you think about like your next kind of evolution, so kind of product related, where where do you start? So there's the diamonds that start in the beginning, and now I've seen the pink and which are lovely, and the champagne ones, and I mean, it's just y'all. Again, I just kind of lose my mind when I go out there. What does it mean, and how does it work to kind of innovate in this just jewelry industry, right? Because like I remember I was having this conversation with some friends of mine a long time ago. This was several years ago, before I knew about MiaDonna. And all of a sudden, De Beers was promoting, champagne diamonds and all of this. I'm like, that is just a dirty diamond. But they called it champagne because it's not
Absolutely. It's all
clear.
marketing,
And
right?
so now all of a sudden people are like, oh, I got to have a champagne diamond. You know what? That's just not a clear diamond. But how do you, as you're thinking about kind of your next product or what you want to put out, what is your kind of creative process that says, no, here's what we want to put out for people that we think would be lovely?
Well, product, there's many different ways I can go with that. Like I said, we're trying to innovate the lab-grown diamond. I don't think that technology has ended at all. We're constantly evolving that, and that's what innovation is, right? MiaDonna will always have the most advanced lab-grown diamonds because we are the ones trying to push the innovation on that.
Yeah.
But like we kind of touched on before, it's like, I want women to purchase their own diamonds. We are making our own money. We earned it, like, seriously. So we're really pushing a self-purchasing line for women to be empowered to be able to buy their own diamonds, but we're going to have a one-for-one philanthropy business model. So when a woman buys a diamond that empowers them, we're going back and empowering one woman in a diamond mining community. So but that's the next thing that's coming out.
I love that because then there's like purpose with your diamond and purpose with your purpose or your purchase. Like it really does make an impact.
It keeps coming back to, we kind of touched on it a little bit before, and about how much of an advocate I am for getting more women in business. And I really feel like that will change the world when we're leading big business with more empathy and compassion. But there's a lot of women out there that are still not leading with empathy and compassion or their true feminine instincts to fit in and to be accepted. And that's doing a huge disservice on themselves and humanity as well. So when we say, I want to get women in business and I want to change the world doing it that way, the first step is getting women to be more comfortable about being themselves in a workplace. It's kind of like, Stockholm syndrome, corporate Stockholm syndrome, when we adapt to something else that is not us and it's not good for us, but it's a form of survival. So we need to start there. And women, it's such a cliche, but women need to support women. There's been a lot of women in the diamond industry that tried to squash me as well. And it's so sad to see, them not supporting another woman, So I think that's a huge mission of mine as well.
Well, and it's interesting that you say that because, we're all going through the great resignation now, right? And people quiet quitting. And I just saw another article today, and I think it said, if you look at the rates have continued to be an exponential growth trajectory of women who are walking away. Right. And these are high level executive women. These aren't just, entry level. It's not. And there's nothing wrong with being entry. But they're saying what's happening. And the big concern is that if you're looking at building these businesses and having more women in leadership for this very reason, the level of compassion, level of empathy, the different leadership style, you're now seeing all these women say, you know what? I'm done. I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore. And which is great because a lot of these women are starting businesses. On the other hand, how do you think we can maybe support and shore up these women so that they have the energy, right, to keep pushing and keep fighting and keep showing up where they are as themselves? As someone who had to leave, I just couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't fight anymore, right?
No, I get
but
it.
How do we start to support them?
There's a lot of answers to that question, but the first one, that comes to mind is, I'm a CEO. I hire and fire people, and I love everyone that works for MiaDonna, truly. But it is when I see those single mothers coming in, and they are a new kind of breed of superwoman. They are doing 3 times the amount of work than anyone else. And they might need more time off. They might need time in the middle of the day. They might, but they get it done on time, and it's better than anyone else because they know how to push through. They know how to get shit done. So I think it's more workplaces, and we are kind of getting into that environment right now where we can support a woman to have it all. It's not frowned upon. It's not seen as weakness. Actually
Right.
employed an 8-month pregnant lady, and I thought she was
Cool.
absolutely amazing. And I'm
Yeah,
like, we're going to support you through your maternity leave, and we're going to, when
absolutely.
you're ready, come back to us. Yeah.
Yes.
So we need to support women being women. Don't want women
Mm-hmm.
to be men at work, or a masculine style
Right.
of leadership. We have enough of
Mm-hmm.
that in the world. And, how much longer are we going to continue down the same path and not make a change?
Yeah.
Give women a chance. Let us lead for a bit.
Yes. I love that. Absolutely love that because, if as hard as this pandemic has been, or now endemic as they're calling it, at least that's what I heard the other day. As hard as it has been, this recognition, one, that there are different ways to work. We can work remotely, and I tell all of my clients, you can no longer say it is not possible to get work done remote. That's just a lie. You can't say that anymore. You can say you prefer people to be in the office, and that's your right, but you can't say it's not possible, because that's just not true. It is possible to get good work done, and in fact, exceptional work done. It's also possible to be flexible. So I think what you're saying, we actually saw that during this pandemic when people had to be home. Their kids were home for school. They could work early, but in the middle of the day, they had to deal with kids being at school, and then they could work at night. And now that was hard for people because then you're working 24/7, right? But the possibilities, I think, showed up because we didn't have a choice. Now we have choices again. The world is opening back up again. Now it's time to revisit those and say, no, yes, they happened because of the pandemic, but there was some good stuff that came out of that we could learn from, and keep those lessons and keep those learnings, and use those going forward to allow ourselves to say, just, we shouldn't be saying, oh, I don't know, we shouldn't promote her, she's about to get married. Or literally, I sat in a conversation about a promotion, this was years ago, about promoting someone, and they said, but I think she's thinking about having kids, so I don't know if we should do that.
God. Yep.
Because this job has a lot of travel. And I was like, but did we ask her? Because we don't know that. And
No,
even if it is,
exactly.
what
Yeah.
what difference does that make, right?
Exactly. It's
So,
none of your business. None of your business. Absolutely. And so we do need to support women that, we can't do it all. We can't expect,
mhm,
no one expects Bill Gates to cook, a pie before dropping his kids off to school and getting into the
right.
board meeting on time, right? That's just even not
Hmm.
expected of him. But for a
Right.
woman, absolutely that's expected of us. So we need
Hmm.
to open up the expectations of both genders and lessen the expectations on women, I think, to have to do it
Yes.
all. Yeah.
I agree. I agree, because it's not, as they say, you can have it all. You just can't have it all at the same time, right? There's what do they say? Work life. I'm
Well,
hearing
you
now
need,
work life integration, right?
oh goodness, you just need a village,
Yeah.
and I think my
Yes.
company is my village. Hmm.
See, I love that, because these women, a lot of these women in the audience tonight are part of my village. They're part of my Fierce Five,
Hmm.
and so it makes a difference. You have, and I always use
It
village. I
absolutely
don't. A
does.
lot of people use tribe and all of that, but for me, it really
Hmm.
is village, because
It's
it
a
takes a
village,
village.
yeah,
This one needs a village,
yeah.
right? So it takes a village
or
for me to stay.
your community, right?
Yes,
We
yes.
need
It
that
it
for sure.
takes it takes a lot to keep this moving.
Hmm.
So how can we, as we kind of begin to wrap up, because we try to keep it around 45 minutes or so, and then I'm going to open it up
Absolutely.
again to audience members if there's more questions. Tell us a little bit about how we, or anyone who listens to this tonight or to the replay, how can we help your
Hmm.
efforts?
Hmm. Well, for your next fine jewelry purchase, visit miadonna.com.
Yes, we can
Obviously.
absolutely do that.
No. But then my other two passions is, we need to support our girls. We need to support our women. I want to see more women in politics, more women in economics, more women in
Hmm.
leadership roles. We really need to
Hmm.
support and encourage women to open up their own businesses. I think
Hmm.
that is a major, and not even encourage them. If you are a woman, take that leap, go do it.
Yeah.
Stop it will be a grind, but stop the
Yep.
doubt. The world needs you. We absolutely need you.
Hmm.
And then being a
Hmm.
conscious consumer. I don't think people
Yeah.
realize how much control we have as a conscious consumer. Every purchase we
Hmm.
make is it's a vote for the world we want to live in. So we really need to be very careful about the products we purchase. And again, I think that comes back to B Corp certified, because it's very hard
Hmm.
to to cut through all the greenwashing these days. And so we really
Mm-hmm.
need some certifications, and people need to prove their sustainable
Yeah.
efforts for sure.
I love that. And we're seeing all of this move towards ESG. I just saw the Wharton School is now having not only a degree, but also a concentration. And one of those is in ESG. And so I'm like, okay, you can get an MBA with a concentration in ESG, or you can get an undergraduate major, in ESG, which is, so I think we're getting it finally. Hopefully it's not too late. I have to believe it's not, right? It's not too late. But it's about, like you said,
it's all
being
about
conscious
balance.
consumers.
Yeah. And it's all about balance, right? The world has been out of balance for so long, out of balance with masculine and feminine energies, but out of balance with for-profit and non-profit, and that, social enterprises meeting in the middle, the style of leadership, we need to meet in the middle. There needs to be more balance in the world for sure.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And so is anybody else in the audience have any more questions or comments, would like to come up on stage? Just hit your little button and say invite. I did have one question that said, who is that gorgeous woman in the picture behind you?
Oh, that is Natalie. She's lived in Portland. She lives in LA now, and she's our model. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, she's really great. Everything about you, Anna-Mieke, and your strength, your clarity, because that's the thing that I talk about, is really getting really aligned with who you are and where you are, understanding, getting your clear vision of what you want, and then taking action, right? Being empowered to take action, because we're already empowered. We just got to sit in that, and make it happen. And so absolutely. I just want to thank you. One, I want to thank you for agreeing to be on the show, because I know I do not take that lightly, and I'm so honored that you would do that.
Absolutely.
And two, I want to thank you for your strength, for your courage, and for your encouragement, and for being an activist, being a philanthropist, being someone who says, there is a purpose for my being here, and I can make an impact, and I'm not going to shrink out of fear and figure I can't do anything, because even as one person, I can do something, and then each one reach one, and it multiplies. So just thank you for being you and for doing everything that you're doing.
Thank you, Laurel. I really appreciate you saying that. Sometimes it's hard to see that when you're constantly running forward and having so much thrown at you. So I really appreciate you saying that. That's lovely.
Yes.
Yep. I'll keep doing it.
Please do, because you have set the stage for so many. I mean, that battling those conglomerates, battling those big guys. We see you doing it in the diamond industry. We saw Fawn Weaver do it with, big liquor industries, with doing Uncle Nearest whiskey, battling the Jack Daniels of the world. We saw the young woman doing it with denim. It is possible. If there's a true why, if there's a burn in your belly, it is possible when you've got the right reason and you've got the right process. And so thank you for doing that and for carving the way for us. And we are absolutely going to be following MiaDonna. You guys follow Anna-Mieke. I've got all of her stuff in the bio. She's on LinkedIn. She's on Twitter. She's on Instagram. She's got a Facebook page. Go look at MiaDonna, the organization. Your next purchase should be a MiaDonna purchase. I'm just saying, because I know mine's going to be.
Yeah.
Yes. We deserve it. Christmas is coming up. It's time. It's the holidays.
Right.
So Suzanne, I know your birthday's coming up, honey. Get that MiaDonna. You deserve it. So thank you. I want to thank all of you who have been in the audience tonight for being here. You're welcome. And there'll be a replay up. So I will make sure everybody gets that as well. And for those of you who were live on YouTube, because I can't see you, so live on YouTube, thank you for tuning in. And for those of you who are live on the platform, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate that. I do not take that lightly either. And for having someone like Anna-Mieke Anderson on, she is the epitome of alignment, vision, action. And this is what we try to do on this show. So thank you all for being here. I'm going to give you the rest of your evening. Anna-Mieke, I will be in touch, because I'm going to come see you when I'm in Portland. Thank you so much.